was 3 a.m. on the clock when the shrill ringing of the doorbell broke the silence of the night. I lived alone in a 3-room apartment. Raising my head from the pillow, I froze, trying to figure out if I dreamed this sound or if someone really called. After maybe 20 seconds, the ringing rang out again. Cursing and mumbling something, he got up from the bed and headed towards the front door. In a sleepy state, on the machine, he reached out with one hand to the handle, the other to the latch. To push her away. The fact that it is dark outside the window and that someone is ringing at my door is already suspicious, but for some reason I, who was eager to continue my dream as soon as possible, was not hooked. I would have opened the door to the night visitor if the following had not happened. Suddenly, from the entrance there was a characteristic sound of opening the door of my neighbor. Well, finally, I got home, I thought, and, turning around, weaved back to bed, when suddenly, behind the door, there was a wild scream that belonged just to my neighbor. From his heartbreaking cry, my soul immediately went to the heels and I finally woke up. Fear and curiosity, that's what took possession of me in those seconds. On tiptoes, like a spy, I crept up to my door and clung to the door peephole. What I saw, at first, hearing a scream, I still became interested. You know, my house is my fortress, there is nothing to be afraid of. But, putting my head up to the peephole, I began to hear my own heartbeat. Right on the landing, 3 meters from me, lay my neighbor with convulsively shaking limbs. And on him, although it would be more accurate to say on his body, this creature was sitting. Creature, because there is no other way to say it. It was something resembling a man, or rather a woman. She was wearing a white, blood-stained dress. Red flowing hair that was shaking, along with her head. From the fact that she was in the truest sense of the word, quickly, growing the face of the poor thing. Just sat and ate it like a hungry dog. I have never experienced such horror in my life. It's good that a light was on in the entrance, otherwise I would not have been able to see what was happening and would definitely have gone out to see what happened. And so I continue to stand and watch what is happening. Fear paralyzed both my body and my thoughts. I didn't think of calling the police. I just stood and watched, until the creature moved on to picking out and devouring eyeballs. Imagine this spectacle. No, you can't. Seeing and understanding what it was doing, my brain quickly reacted and there was a gag urge. No, I didn't vomit, I just made a distinctive sound. Not loudly, even with your hand to your mouth. But apparently it wasn't worth it. The creature suddenly froze. You know, like a dog that freezes in a grin when someone tries to take away its food during a meal. Slowly, it turned its head towards my door. This is where I got sick. I realized that I had simply betrayed my presence. Turning around, her face was in the light of the driveway lamp and I could see everything. Clumped hair, pale skin color, bottomless black eyes without iris and pupil. And teeth, reminiscent of shark teeth, long, covered in blood, growing in several rows. Turning her head, her mouth twisted into an incomprehensible smile and made such a sound. What a child will make when he eats a delicious chocolate bar and then he is offered another, even tastier one. Such a genuine joyful moan. My legs gave out and I fell. He fell in, without taking his eyes off the door, began to crawl away. Stumbled into the wall, and he kept staring at his damn door. Knock knock, there was a knock and the door handle shook. And then the whole door shook. I couldn't bring myself to do anything at all. Just sat and watched. Then such strong blows began on the door that it seemed that it would just fly out. Unable to control myself, I, no matter how trite, lost consciousness. I came to my senses when it was already light outside. Someone persistently rang at my door. Barely waking up and hearing the ringing, I instantly felt as creepy as at night, but the voices, open, police, sounded like a hymn of salvation. Looking through the peephole, I saw 2 policemen, and behind them lay, covered with a yellow cloth, a body. Of course, it was the body of my neighbor. Before opening, I asked them leading questions for about 5 minutes to make sure that they were really people. Told them everything, and told the press everything as it is. And he told in the district. They took me for a psycho. We were taken to hospitals, tested for drugs, for insanity. But I know what I saw. Everyone decided that some psychopath just brutally killed the poor fellow. But I saw and I know that it was not a man. It was something terrible and reasonable. Yes, and my door was all scratched and crumpled. What kind of person is capable of this? After a couple of weeks, having calmed down a bit, I returned home in the evening. It was the first time, after the incident, when I was not afraid to be on the street at night. Approaching my replaced door, I was stunned. The word, "wait," was scratched right on it. I locked myself in the apartment, or rather climbed into the closet, and did not close my eyes until the morning. Everyone was waiting for it to start breaking again. But nothing happened. In the morning I packed all my things and left for another city, to my sister. He sold this apartment, never appearing there again, with all the furniture and all the things that he left there. If you wake up one night to someone ringing or knocking on your door, be careful.
Thank you for your attention. Subscribe to the channel.